So the Yankees clinched last night. They beat up on the Orioles. The Orioles ended up winning the season series against the Yankees, but the Yankees are the American League East champs, so that means that they will certainly get a bye through the wild card, and they will start their postseason on October 5th, next Saturday at Yankee Stadium. The magic number is 2 in order for them to clinch home field throughout the American League. So it's 2 over the Guardians. Guardians lose 2, the Yankees clinch. Yankees win 2 against the Pirates, they clinch. So it looks like a good bet, but we'll see exactly how it plays out. Some things to look at from last night's game. Garrett Cole was excellent. 2 straight great starts, 9 innings against the A's. And then yesterday, a really strong performance pitching into the 7th inning against the Orioles, shutting down a really good Oriole offense. So he's set for the postseason. He'll start game 1. But the thing that jumps out at you about yesterday, another Judge home run, but I mean, I think we're almost expecting that. 5 games in a row with a home run, 58 on the season. But Giancarlo Stanton had a big night. Bases loaded double. That was 115 miles an hour off the bat. It was hit so hard into the right center field gap that Cedric Mullins couldn't even get to it. Couldn't move. That's how hard it was hit. Got to the wall, cleared the bases. Before that, he had hit a home run. That's pretty important, everybody, because the guy in the Yankee lineup that has the best postseason numbers is Giancarlo Stanton. So he has been struggling of late. Maybe he's starting to find it. Maybe he carries that into the postseason. But all in all, the Yankees in pretty good shape right now. I don't know if you guys feel like this, Don and Peter. They're such a maddening team. When they win, they look so great. But when they lose, you start to question the things that aren't perfect about them. So you could see them losing in the first round, and you can easily see them going to the World Series. It's that sort of team. I know it's a cop-out, but the first 2 games against the Orioles where they have base-running mistakes, statistically, they're the worst base-running team in the American League. They don't get big hits, and you start to think, wow, are they going to get knocked out in the first round? And then they have a game like yesterday, and you go, who's stopping them? So I don't exactly know how I would bet my house, but if somebody said to me, Michael, you must bet, I would take the Yankees to go to the World Series. But I feel pretty good about it, but I don't feel absolutely certain.
I go the opposite way because of everything you just said. But to me, it never feels like it's been in a consistent enough form for me to believe it will lead to them going on a run like that. That's because you're right. The days when they're good, like last night, you look at that and you go, I mean, listen, if Judge and Stanton are both playing like that and they're doing it, and if Soto in the playoffs, how could they not go on a run? But, Michael, there have just been too many times, we're just not consistent. And in the playoffs, you have to be consistent. And as you just mentioned, this is a team that previously does not hit the ball consistently in the playoffs.
Well, that's what's interesting, because there's a history of not making runs. But when you base it off of what's happening this year, why not? Because it's in relation to who you're going up against. Yeah, the Yankees have holes. Yankees have been wildly inconsistent at times. But they're still in line to have the best record in the American League. And they still could possibly, the Dodgers have 95. I don't know what the Yankees.
They have an outside chance to have the best record.
Best record in baseball. So yeah, I wouldn't put this team up against the '98 Yankees. I probably wouldn't put this team up against the 2000 Yankees, 2009 Yankees, or the 2000 Yankees for that matter. But this year, they don't have to go up against the history of the Yankees or the history of baseball. They just have to go up against everybody else. And so, how can you say that anybody else has been less consistent than the Yankees if they end up having the best record in the American League and possibly the best record in baseball? So aren't they the same as everybody else, except we pay more attention to them and the Mets than we do everybody else?
I think it's going to be a fun postseason. Obviously, if they got knocked out in the first round, it wouldn't be too fun. But what Don said really does ring true. Just pair them up against any team in the American League. They're better than them all. They're better than them all. They are. And so the Orioles beat them in the season series. Okay, I think they're better than the Orioles. I don't think the Orioles have enough starting pitching. Yankees starting pitching right now is the best starting pitching in the American League, from at least 1 through 4, and that's really all you need. The Guardians have a great bullpen. Gotcha. The Astros have institutional knowledge of how to win in big games. Important. But Royals, Tigers, Yankees are better. They're better. I think they're better than the Orioles. I think they're better than the Guardians. And I think it would be interesting if they met the Astros again. But I think they're better. So we'll see if it plays out the way it does on paper if the better team wins.
Well, the thing is, but how often does that happen?
It doesn't very often.
You had two teams in the World Series last year that were not the best teams in baseball, but, the Texas Rangers ended up being the best because they won the World Series. So you go by run differential. Well, the Yankees win there. They got a plus 152 run differential, which is 15 better than the Dodgers, who are in second. So run differential is interesting because it tells you in relation to how many runs you score and give up. So that checks two boxes. Pitching's been good. Hitting has been good. Peter's right. The hitting does go away in the postseason, which just shows you how crazy it is because some of those teams, Peter, that were shut down were tremendous and consistently good offensive teams. And then for some reason, the playoffs come and you have one bad series and it ends it. I think that's why it feels so arbitrary, Michael, because the Yankees could turn around and, like they got killed by the White Sox. Like any given day, you can have a stinker. And in a best-of-5 series, which the Yankees will have in their first round, can really cost you. At any moment, you can have a bad 5-game stretch. Well, you have a bad 3-game stretch, your season's over. So are they going to be consistent in the postseason? Then they'll win it. If there's any sign of inconsistency at the wrong time, then it'll end quick.
I have some broadcasting news.
Interesting.
I've been assigned by ESPN to do the Wild Card Series in Houston on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I will be leaving for Houston after the game on Sunday, attend the workouts there, do the show from Houston. We don't have the times yet, but the whisper is that the first game of the Houston series would be about 2:30 on Tuesday, all subject to change. I will be working with Todd Frazier and Tim Kirchin in the booth with Alden Gonzalez on the field. So it's a really strong group, really looking forward to it. I begged, I pled, I offered to pay for transportation to go to Baltimore just to, you know this, Don, to avoid that trip to Texas.
Right.
But
you hate it.
They wanted me in Houston.
That's good. And right now it would be the Tigers, and if I had to bet, I would think it's going to be. But it could be up in the air. No, the Tigers will make it, but it could still be the Royals, right? So you're going to get a good series either way. Peter, I don't understand why Major League Baseball would start the game at 2:30 knowing that Michael is on the air at 3. Not very not respectful at all to our show.
Program.
But maybe they say...
we're hoping for a quick game so I can join about 5.
I know, but I'm just saying it's the Major League Baseball is not showing any kind of consideration. So hopefully...
Major League... No. ESPN, I work for ESPN on the radio. They should have put me on the game that started at 8. Instead, it's not Major League Baseball, it's ESPN.
Well, once Major League Baseball found out your schedule, then they should have made theirs. Why ESPN? Well, you know what? Bad job out of us.
Bob in New Jersey. Bob.
Hey, guys. Thank you for taking the call.
You got it.
Just wanted to talk quickly about the Yankees lineup today and their approach. First, huge disclaimer, I'm not one of these wacky Yankee fans that bashes them over everything. But I must say I am a little disappointed at what they're turning out today, which is about 3 or 4 of their main hitters not in the lineup. As you guys were just stating, the AL specifically this year just seems to be so close. And I agree. I think the Yankees have as good of a shot as anybody. And as a fan, and I'm curious to get your all thoughts, I would think that locking up home field for the duration of the AL would just be that extra type of boost or variable that could really help them in the event that they get into one of these tight series, especially thinking about some of how they faltered in the past. It seems like their offense is always a little bit better at home when thinking about just some of those series that they lost to. So anyways, I'm just a little disappointed, not bashing them, but just wanted to hear your guys' thoughts.
I'm a little surprised. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't say disappointed. I'm surprised by this is a C lineup. It's not a B. It's not an A. Maybe they think, hey, it's 2 games. The Guardians are going to lose one to the Astros. We'll win one against the Pirates, and we'll be fine. But it's a tough lineup.
I know they could break down all the numbers and everything, but, Michael, the only way this would be an issue if they finish as the 2 seed in the American League, is a league championship series against Cleveland. That's it. They're guaranteed home field against the winner of the next round, the Orioles or Kansas City or Detroit, whoever ends up being. They would have home field against Houston if they face them. Cleveland would be the only one. So you got a chance to give some guys a day off. Is it that big of a deal, Michael? They could still win it. Are you really thinking that far down the road? I mean, you don't even know.
Well, when he was asked about this in Oakland, this is Boone.
Right.
He said they will go after the American League East with the same ferocity that they would be going after getting the best record.
Well,
this lineup is not ferocity.
He was being disingenuous, because if you really want the 1 seed, that's not the lineup you would have.
No, unless they think they're going to get the 1 seed anyway, and they have Carlos Rodon on the mound. So,
and just again to put it out there, Yankees 93 wins, Guardians 92, so they do have a 1-game lead. So they do have a little bit of a cushion, and you feel like you're playing the Pirates. So maybe it's just a case of, hey, we want it, but we also want to give some guys a rest, and we still think we can get this anyway. But it does feel a little disingenuous that you're saying you're going to go hard after it, and because he would not have a lineup like that any other day. Maybe a day game after a night game, second game of a doubleheader, but not a quote-unquote meaningful game. No way.
Tony in West Haven. Tony.
Hey, Michael. I know you're going to hate this, because you hate when people call up and give you compliments. But I want to say thank you for this year. You do such a great job broadcasting games, and I don't think you get enough credit. And you keep us entertained when games are running long or there's not much excitement in games. And last night I was sitting down watching the game with my son, and I kept thinking back to when I would sit on the couch with my dad listening to Phil Rizzuto and Roy White. And you do such a great job, Michael. And I really don't think you get enough compliments. So I wanted to call up and just take a minute and say thank you very, very much.
I thank you very much, Tony. I really do. And it's not that I don't like compliments. I feel uncomfortable getting them. The people that hate them are Don and Peter. It's not so much me that hates them.
Yes.
They hate it. Especially Peter. He despises it.
It's just sometimes when people call up and just thank you for doing your job. I mean, Don, last time I checked, I don't think he's doing it on charity.
Well, yeah, he's compensated
they pay him well
for it.
The check comes in the mail. It's a pretty good gig. I mean,
it doesn't come in the mail. It's direct deposit.
Yeah, Michael doesn't even. Oh, wait, I thought you need a check.
They don't do that anymore. They won't do it.
Wow,
yeah,
that must have been tough.
It drives me nuts.
Well, by the way, if the Diamondbacks win this, if they sweep the series, they would actually have the tiebreaker against the Padres and take wild card 1. So that's good news for the Mets.
There you go. Well, ENN, no bigger ENN than the one before the weekend. And you know what happens on that ENN. So I'm going to duck out for a minute as Don tells you about Samwell.
Oh, boy. Friends.